Hello everyone. In this video we'll create an elastic sphere effect that follows the cursor. As we can see, the sphere moves toward the cursor with a springy feel, and while moving, it spawns a trail of particles behind it. It looks quite nice, and we can finish in just a few minutes. Okay, let's get started. First, we need a sphere static mesh. We can increase its subdivisions as needed if we want to add more deformation effects in the material later. The default material is very basic, just a Fresnel node for an edge glow. Now create a new Niagara system. Pick an empty template, add a mesh renderer, and assign the sphere mesh. Set life cycle mode to self, loop behavior to once, and spawn only one particle. In particle update, uncheck kill particles when lifetime has elapsed, so the particle persists in the level. We don't need many initial particle adjustments. Let's keep it simple and focus on the elastic movement. Next, add a user parameter of type position, named target position, to specify where the cursor is. Then in particle update, update the particle's position using a lerp. Interpolate from the current particle position to target position, with the interpolation speed controlled by delta time multiplied by a constant, default 5. This makes the sphere follow the target position. Now we need to pass the cursor position from a blueprint to Niagara. Create a blueprint. Use event tick to get the cursor location every frame. Get player controller, then get hit result under cursor by object. In this example, set world static and world dynamic as the object types to trace against. Break the hit result to get the location as the current position. To avoid unnecessary updates, store the previous frame's position. Then compare the previous position with the current position. If it's the same as the current one, skip the update. Otherwise, pass the current position to the position of the previous frame for updating. Also pass the current position to the Niagara system's target position parameter. Don't forget to fill in the correct parameter names. Okay, we have completed the basic parameter settings. When placed in the level, the sphere will follow the cursor. We can adjust the interpolation speed constant. The larger this constant is, the faster the transition of the sphere between the two positions will be. 5 works well. Next, create the elastic deformation. First, we need the movement direction and speed. In particle update, add a vector parameter named direction. Subtract the current particle position from target position and normalize it to get the facing direction. Add a float parameter speed. Use vector length of the same subtraction to get the speed magnitude. To prevent excessive values, we can clamp or scale it appropriately. Then use the direction and speed to update mesh orientation. Set orientation method to orient to vector, the mesh's facing direction to particle direction, and enable facing interpolation rate. The interpolation rate can be controlled by speed, with a maximum limit, like 10. The larger the maximum value, the faster the sphere will turn towards the cursor. Finally, set scale mesh size. For the x-axis, facing direction, use a sine function multiplied by speed, add an offset of 1 to keep it positive. Here we copy the multiply float to add sine. Oh, we need to adjust the module order. Set the speed parameter first so that we can call it when scale mesh size. Then multiply by an intensity factor, default 0.002, to create a jelly-like elastic stretch. For the y and z axis, subtract the same elastic value from 1, with a smaller factor, 0.001. So when the sphere moves fast, X stretches and Y/Z shrink, simulating forward deformation. Remember to set mesh scale mode to a valid value in the initialized particle module. In example, we set uniform 1. Otherwise, scaling won't take effect. Now the elastic sphere is done. Test it in the level. The sphere follows the cursor and deforms elastically. Faster movement gives more noticeable deformation. Tweak the constants to adjust the deformation amplitude. Next, add the trail. Duplicate the current emitter and rename it as the trail emitter. Remove unnecessary parameters. Change loop behavior to infinite. We need a script to read the speed parameter from the main emitter because the trail should only spawn when the main sphere is moving. In the trail emitter, add a module, use a particle attribute reader to get the float by index. Since the source emitter has only one particle, index 0, and read the parameter named speed. Output it to a module float variable, also named speed. The emitter to read is the source emitter that was just created. In the emitter update, use spawn particles from other emitter with a rate of 100. Set the trail particle mesh scale to a smaller value, like 0.1 to 0.2. Their velocity should be opposite to the main sphere's facing direction. Let's enable mesh orientation sampling in the sampling parameters to get the sphere's orientation. And use a cone velocity distribution for the trail particle. The axis will be obtained by rotating a vector by quaternion multiplied by -1. The vector to rotate is set to the positive x-axis, which is the direction the sphere is moving in. Set random speeds between 100 and 500. Lifetime around 0.5 to 0.8 seconds. Okay, now we see that the trail particles are continuously generated, but what we need is for them to only be generated as the sphere moves. So we allow spawning when the speed is greater than or equal to a threshold. For example, 15. Connect the comparison result to this spawning-enabled pin. Yes, now the trail particles are only spawned when the sphere moves. Also add scale mesh size to make trail particles shrink over time, and add modules like curl noise force to give them some organic motion. Now when the sphere moves, it leaves a trail of shrinking particles behind, forming a nice trail effect. Okay, that's all for this video. We've created a simple elastic sphere that follows the cursor with a trail. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.